What comes in must go back out. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am taking you through a double whammy haul and unhaul. There are a couple of books that have managed to come into my possession even though I did a haul maybe about 2 weeks ago, but I've also got a couple of books that I want to get rid of, so I'm going to combine the two of them. Because if you are going to buy so many books and if you're going to have a big bookshelf, you're going to need some space to put them on. So let's take a look at what is making space first, and then let's take a look at what is going to fill those gaps. When you think about the size of the haul, the unhaul section of this is actually a little bit small. There's only about 5 books in here, but they are books that I'm not going to read again. They are already books that I own, and it's just time to say goodbye to them. First up is Ayowadi on Ayowadi by Richard Ayowadi. I actually found a copy of this in my bookshelf at home in Ireland while I was there a couple of weeks ago. I messaged my brother just to make sure it wasn't Ayowadi on top that we had over there, but no, it was this one. And to me, it doesn't make sense to have 2 copies of the exact same book just in 2 different countries. So if I feel the need that I need to read this one, I'm going to get my home copy of this, but this one is going to the local library. I'm also getting rid of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I did try this during the Amazing Readathon, and I wasn't so enamored by it. I felt it was a little bit slow at the beginning. I didn't really get as connected with it as I wanted to. And then I've heard a couple of things about the author that didn't really sit so well with me. So this one is just going to head to the local library too. I had a couple of disappointments throughout the Amazing Readathon, but none disappointed me as much as The Woman Who Stole My Life by Marion Keyes. This book dragged on so much that you genuinely only meet the woman who stole her life about 3/4 of the way in. And that's way too late for me. I need to get right into the grip of the action straight away. I also found the relationship that was in this book absolutely insane, as it takes place between a woman who has had locked-in syndrome and the neurologist who is flown in from the US to try and figure out what's going on with her. It felt so Stockholm syndrome-y that it just took me out of the story so much. This is not one of my favorite Marion Keyes books, but hopefully somebody out there is going to love this one. I'm also getting rid of 2 by the same author that I have read in a previous video here, and I enjoyed them, but I just know that I'm not going to go back to them. So I am getting rid of The Honey Don't List and Roomies, both by Christina Lauren. As I said, I did have a great time with these, and I read these as part of the Already Aoife series, where I go through my bookshelf behind me and I try and read some books off there to get those numbers a little bit lower, but I'm not going to go back to these. I had a really great time with them, but somebody else is probably going to have a great time with them too. Now that we've said goodbye to some books, it's time to say hello to some others. The first one is a novel love story by Ashley Poston. I worship the ground that Ashley Poston walks on. I have loved The Dead Romantics, and I absolutely loved The 7-Year Slip. It split my heart in 2, so I'm really expecting that this is going to be exactly the same. It's about a young woman named Eileen who finds herself in the fictional town where her favourite romance book is set, and she is walking through the streets as she knows, and she's seen the coffee shops and the bookshops and everything that she's familiar with from the story. But what she doesn't recognise is the grumpy man who keeps turning up every corner that she turns. I am so invested in her way of storytelling. She kind of weaves magical realism into her books in such a phenomenal and flawless way, and I'm so intrigued to see what she's going to do with this. I know that Brittany and Kelsea have chosen this as their August book club, and I cannot wait to read it with them and to pick the story apart with them and to have just a great time with them. Up next is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I listened to a little bit of this while I was on holiday last year, while I was getting ready to go out for the evening, and I was super invested in this. I think it was the first Sarah Adams book that I tried by that stage, and I've read a couple more of hers and I've really enjoyed her writing style. She is a quite closed door author, so there's not a lot of spice and there's not a lot of steam in here, but there is still a lot of tension and there is still a lot of really great relationship dynamic to look at. This is about Bree and Nathan is a football player and Bree is one of his fans, I believe, and they have a really great relationship together, and I am so invested in getting the rest of this story read and actually sinking into it. Next up is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I know that this is the first book in the Boys of Tolman series, and I also know that this is set in the south of Ireland. That is where I grew up. I am really close to where Chloe grew up as well, so I am expecting this to be a book that I'm really going to connect with in that sense. I've also seen, I just went through like the glossary and the pronunciation guide at the start of the book, and there is a character called Aoife in there, and she also uses the nickname Eve, which is my nickname with so many people I know, so I feel like that's going to be another connection. Something else that's really going to draw me into this book is that it is about rugby. I absolutely adore rugby. It's one of my favorite sports. So I have a feeling I'm going to get on pretty okay with this one. It's just that Neva has told me that this is one that you need to be ready for. And I don't think that she meant by the size of it. Another sports romance that I picked up, and one that's a little bit out of what I would usually go for, is tennis. And I have picked up Match Point by Catherine Riley. I am not a big tennis girly, but my partner's family are obsessed with it. So I'm going to try and use this as my kind of into the things that they're talking about when we're around the kitchen table. And just to get a little bit of an insight into what their world and what their enjoyment is like. This has been touted as ideal for fans of Icebreaker and The Deal. Now, I didn't love Icebreaker. The Deal is still on my TBR, but I have a feeling that that means it's going to be like a rivals to lovers, sports rivals, but really steamy sports romance. And I am so here for it. While I was in Dublin Airport on my way back to Berlin, there was a buy one, get one half price sale in one of the bookshops. One of the books I picked up was by Lisa Jewell, who I read for the first time last year and fell in love with her. This one is Breaking the Dark, and this is a Marvel story about Jessica Jones. I'm not very deep in the Marvel universe, but I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to see if this will ease me into it a little bit more. Because what I would really like to do is watch all of the Marvel Avengers movies in chronological order. So not the order that they came out in, but more so the order in which they are set. So this might be a good way for me to just get that journey started. Finally, I also picked up The Snag List by Sophie White. I have absolutely loved the books that I've read by Sophie before. She has a really fantastic and also kind of cutthroat writing style when she's looking about society and what it is like to be a woman in society at the moment. This is about three women who, with their partners or by themselves, are all trying to buy houses in the same housing estate, and all of the boundaries that they have, the barriers that they come up with, everything that is going right or going wrong in their lives. I am so excited to get this one started. With the books that have just come off my TBR and with the books that are going on to it right now, my TBR now stands at 61 books. It is a little bit over the 50 that I wanted to end at the end of this year, but I've still got a couple of months. Let's see what I can do in that time, and let's see how many more of these I can get ticked off. Are there any of those books that you think I should start off with? Or what is the most recent book that you just bought or unhauled? If you'd love to leave me a comment but you can't think of anything you'd like to say, then just leave me the switch emoji, because books are coming off and coming back on my TBR at lightning pace. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.